This is the acceptable face of the Bushmen in Botswana, dancers for tourists on a mission project, a tame, faint echo of a wilder life they are no longer permitted to lead. For more than 30,000 years they survived where no one else could, in the very heart of the Kalahari Desert. They proudly hunted wildebeest, giraffe and eland, took pride in their independence. Now these last descendants of the hunter-gatherers who once roamed all southern Africa are being moved from their land, all in the name of progress.
We cannot, beyond the space age time, be talking of Stone Age.
It's the old, sad story of culture clash and tribal dispossession, which at this very last moment has taken an unexpected turn. Creatures of the Kalahari, be warned. The Bushmen are fighting back. The crisis came last February when the Botswana government ruled that humans and Bushmen could no longer share the desert. The Bushmen must go.
Now, once this relocation is over, the remaining services will be terminated.
Local Government Minister Margaret Nasher didn't go into details at her press conference, but behind the scenes, whole villages were dismantled. Mobile health clinics closed. Bushman families scrambled to fill water cans for the last time as bores were sealed, tanks removed, and drums full of water emptied onto the sand. Not force, the government insists, but persuasion to leave.
We have not forced anybody.
Eric Molale is permanent head of local government. You don't think that cutting off water supplies in the middle of a desert amounts to force?
No.
In essence, you're saying that you're doing this for their good?
For their good and for the good of this nation.
There are other more sinister theories. Of a diamond strike, of a tourism push. Hard to know the truth. Film crews who've tried have been harassed and had their equipment seized. So we decided to tour the Kalahari without government company, to meet for ourselves those who've chosen to resist. Is the road pretty much like this all the way?
No, this is good.
The Central Kalahari Game Reserve was set up in 1961 by the departing British colonialists, specifically to provide refuge for the Bushmen. Most of Botswana's 50,000 Bushmen did move into modern settlements. By 1997, only 2,000 Bushmen, or Basawa, remained hunting and gathering in the Kalahari. This year, the government decided to move the diehards out.
There's no one up here.
No. You get the feeling if you get bogged, you stay bogged.
Yeah.
Our first Kalahari dawn finds the remains of the village of Kukama, maybe a dozen members of one extended family coming to life. And here we find Koni, the one family member who's been to school in the capital, Gaborone, and speaks English. Bashalwago? And he is your...
My brother.
He's your brother.
It's my sister.
A sister. Kukama is dry. No water for even a cup of coffee. As visitors, we're happy to share ours. Why have you stayed?
They don't want to move because this is where they belong and where their grandfathers will stay since they was born.
Right. So they will stay here forever?
Yes.
Fear of the new government settlements is apparent in cautionary tales of what happens to those who do move.
In New Trad, the other settlement. What?
New Trad.
What is life like there?
Their life is difficult. New Trad and Kaudan, because the people who moved here from CKJR to Kaudan, some of them have ate the dogs because of hunger.
Mokhaleng, I want to show everybody, if I may, in the shade.
Jamie Workman, who's studying the water wars of southern Africa, has visited the village twice before.
Your story is very powerful to the rest of the world.
They've never seen anything like it. A computer, pictures of themselves. But what they do know, these Kakama villagers, is how to survive in a thirsty, apparently barren environment.
E go botoka ka gore ye ile botshelo jo botshela o sha tshwenye motho o sha re ke ntse ke na toga ke go kopa semamata ka bolwa ke tala tse go ha o uza ile gore to ba ba lo heri o na toga le doga le bono go le a hulu.
While women gather, men traditionally hunt. But the government has now imposed strict limits, even though game numbers in the reserve are increasing.
Go thabisa dithontšha tša ka gore yaano botshelo jo tsholo jwa kutshala kana ha bo sha tholo bole go rimo jwa ka yene re wena o tshwa ka o le mosadi o ya hulo mono na ena e tshwashe ga e ya zoma.
Now there is never enough. Kakama's health service too has gone. There is much coughing and illness.
Thank you. Thank you.
We wonder as we say goodbye whether this waterless village can survive. Another few hours on the track, we find a dead village, Motomilo, once home to 150 Bushmen and source of water to 500 people in the region. Our guide, Jamanda, shows us where a borehole has been drilled for the Bushmen by a diamond company.
And this was cut and was sealed here. So the pump itself was somewhere here.
What's it like for you to come here now in a place that had so many of your people now empty?
I'm happy to be home. I think, let me say, I'm happy to be home. The sad thing is that no one at home.
No water, no village. Motomelo is only one of a half-dozen settlements which lost their water supplies. You don't think it would have been a generous act to continue to provide water for that community?
It would have been a generous act to do that, but the ultimate intention and objective is to get people to somewhere where they can live and get those things that can help them to be self-sustaining in the future.
Accustomed to world approval, the government of Botswana has been shocked by the response to what it sees as a benign policy of assimilation. Both the European Union and the United Nations have lodged formal protests.
It is not worth all the trouble, simply because the accusations of racism are unfounded.
But what about the stories of tipping over water tanks, of threatening to bring in the army, of taking the radios?
Unfounded, untrue, and nonsensical. I pity the few Basara who have been dragged by the nose to come to believe that there are people elsewhere out of this country who have their welfare at heart. And I pray for the day that they will come to see reason what the government is doing for them.
So we travelled on to a living village, Metsiamanon, wondering if it really is possible to turn back the clock, to make people who've learned dependence self-sufficient again.
Hello. How do you do? Hello. This seems a much happier place.
Again, no water, but ripe melons, dripping with juice.
How many families are living here?
I think right now it's about 4 or 5 families we should remain behind.
Right.
Ha ha ha.
The government claims just 6 people live here, all old. We found a few dozen, including young girls, a sure sign of life. And another sign, donkeys laden with bags of roots. When cut, they release precious moisture. It seems there is water in the desert. Sunset at Metsumanong, and an age-old ritual, the passing on of a grandfather's knowledge.
The grandfather was explaining to Moache the way which ways, which directions they have to take when going to the hunt, and in which pens they have to go and do some hunting, and thinking in which pens they can find what kind of animals.
Why have you decided to stay here rather than go to a resettlement place?
How
old are you?
I'm 14 years old.
14. Yeah. Have you killed your first animal?
Yes.
And what animal was that?
Hamspock, and the second eland.
What does that mean to you as a bushman? In fact, Moahi already has a wife and child, and he's probably older than 14, age being a flexible concept for a bushman. Wisdom is not something you count, but something you learn and share around the campfire. Villagers say the pressure has continued here since February. Just yesterday, 8 carloads of officials had come demanding they relocate and threatening to take away the village patriarch. We're taken to meet him, Jaberakwe. They say he is 130 years old. Whatever, he is near his end. This morning, Jaberakwe tells his great-grandson, our guide Jamanda, he must struggle harder for his people here. For Jamanda, it is a painful and, he believes, final farewell. But as we head north to the abandoned village of Malapo, signs of a more hopeful future.
Yeah, there they go.
What? These are people who've come back?
Yeah, these are the guys which have come back.
In this deserted landscape, 2 figures appear.
I'm really glad to see my people coming back home.
It's soon clear they are rebels, men who were relocated in February but have now returned, having smuggled in water in defiance of the government officials.
How does it feel to be home?
And
they say a dozen more families are on the way.
Do you think they'll chase you away?
So we head for the place these men have left behind, New Kare. And just as they predicted, here comes the freedom ride.
It's about a 5-hour drive on from Malapo, where we met the first 2 men who'd returned, and here they are, the rest of the village that will be. Forced removal or not, clearly this return is voluntary and joyful. We're driving into New Kade, the resettlement centre that we've heard so many stories about. This is the tuck shop. We're coming up soon to the clinic. That's the clinic right there. It doesn't feel quite as bleak as some of the stories that we've heard, but whatever else it is nothing like the traditional way of life as lived by Bushmen. And it's here we meet the leader of the rebels, Roy Sesana, who with his fellow elders set up the first people of the Kalahari 5 years ago. We've seen a big group of Bushmen heading back to Malapo, their old village. Is this a new tactic from the leadership? How does it make you feel to know those families are going back, whatever the government says? The future of the Kalahari Bushmen depends now on a challenge to the relocations before the Supreme Court of Botswana. A win could, quite literally, rewrite history, at least that long chapter relating to the dispossession of First Peoples. A loss? Well, the government's plans are well advanced.
There are those who are interested in probably modern-day houses.
The era of bricks and backyards is just around the corner.
Other than cattle rearing, there are these backyard gardens.
There's no room for sadness in that?
No. Let us forget the excitement of preservation of people to live in Stone Age. We'll never go back to the Stone Age era. So why do we want to preserve people and leave them in that?
Once they were nomads, roaming the vastness of southern Africa. Now they live in villages and rear goats, separating the kids from their mothers each night to preserve the milk. The Bushmen have already made many changes and adaptations, and they swear they can do it again. How many families do you have?
I think right now it's